So, Matt.
Yes.
So, I've noticed a thing recently at sporting events, specifically high school, junior high sporting events, and it bugs me.
Okay.
Baseball, seen it at soccer, seen it at basketball. People are mean to the refs.
Well, what kind of calls were the refs making?
You got a point. Some of them were hot trash. For example, my son was playing baseball the other day, and he was pitching.
Okay.
And he struck the kid out. The third strike right over the plate. Well, it wasn't right over the plate. It was on the side of the plate, but it was a strike. And he just called it a ball, sent the batter to first. And I knew it was a ball. The ref knew it was a ball. My son knew it was a ball. Everybody knew it was a ball.
The ump.
Yeah, I said ref, didn't I? I'm sorry.
It was barely noticeable.
I'm sorry.
How many points did they score in that baseball game?
Well, they had 4 touchdowns.
Okay.
You dog. Anyway, the point is...
Brought this upon yourself.
Yeah, I did. The point is, sometimes they get it wrong because they're humans.
They do, yeah.
And I personally have a pet peeve when people yell at the refs.
Yeah, I agree. What about at a professional sporting event? Are you allowed to yell at those refs?
Well, I hope so, because I do.
What do you say? What is your ref? What is your go-to thing when the ref does something wrong? How do you let them know? What do you say?
Well, it depends. Like if it's the Trash Pandas, okay, when I'm at the Trash Pandas, just kind of being obnoxious is kind of part of it. You're like, boo!
Okay, I like that one.
So, for example, I just recently got to go to the coolest thing ever. I went to the Final Four basketball. Bama, the Crimson Tide. So, here, a little backstory.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in college, undergrad,
yes,
I was a member of Mark's Madness. Mark Gottfried was our coach. And we had this little, like Cameron's Crazies kind of thing. Dude,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Long story short, it's the
you
rowdy...
mean like people who get excited and they're in the student section?
The rowdy student section.
Okay.
So Mark's Madness, I was a member of that.
Okay.
And so the only time in December of 2002 when Alabama was ranked number 1 in basketball, the only time that ever happened...
I remember that.
I had a picture or a poster that I had written that said, number 1, nuff said.
Oh, like Stan Lee's catchphrase with a little apostrophe in front of the nuff.
That lasted 1 week.
Oh.
And of course, there was a photo. It's still out there. If you Google it, you can find the photo of me in the Gainesville Times saying Alabama's number 1. It's like a real cocky thing that, it was foolish. But that's how long I've liked Alabama basketball.
Did you just get the thick red marker and change it to 14?
Yeah.
And then change the 1 to a 24?
Yeah, exactly.
And then somehow convert it into unranked?
I just pretended it didn't happen. But
okay,
we went to the Final Four, and I had the opportunity to go. A friend of mine's like, I got a ticket.
You mean this year, just now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I know what to do, what I do when the refs make bad calls, because I did it.
And what was that?
So they made some really bad ticky-tack calls against Bama, and I yelled from the upper deck in the Arizona Cardinals, whatever they call their stadium.
That's where it was?
Yes.
Was it Tempe at the...
No, it was in Phoenix.
What's the name of that stadium?
I don't know. It was awesome, though.
Cardinal Stadium? The University of Phoenix Stadium for a while.
No.
That's what it was called.
No, this is like an NFL where they...
Right, and it was called the University of Phoenix Stadium.
Okay, I believe you.
I think, because, the Diamondbacks play in Bank One Ballpark, or that used to be what it's called. I don't know. I know the one you mean. As they can roll the turf in and out.
Yeah,
They've got a roller, and they can take the whole live grass turf. It's living grass, and they roll it up outside the stadium, and they put basketball in there.
It was amazing.
So you were a long ways away. You were NFL far away.
Yes, and I yelled from the top, "Boo! I disagree with you!" And then because I'm funny, and then I'm not mean. I'm just trying to be silly about it. And then there was another time when they made a call against us, and I said something like, "You kind of have a point on that one. I'll give you that," just being silly.
Yes.
But then there's these other people that yell at the refs, and it's not okay.
And they don't do it like you do.
No, because I do it wrong. I do it right.
Right.
Yeah.
So they should be more like that.
Correct.
Okay, honestly, I do think you do it right, and I think that's the way to do it, is to satirize the whole affair.
Yeah.
By yelling ridiculous things.
I question your judgment. That kind of thing.
You are poor at batting, Piazza. I predict you will not get a hit.
Yes.
I harassed Mike Piazza for an entire ball game at Wrigley Field.
My mom's favorite player. His catcher for the Mets for a long time.
I rode him hard.
Okay.
Mike Piazza, I find your mustache unattractive.
He was a good-looking man.
He's a great-looking man. I'm saying that's total projection.
Oh, I yelled at we were playing UConn, who were amazing. I was yelling when they were shooting free throws. I was making fun of their goatee, like their facial hair. Of course, yeah.
You got to go with what you can from literally half a mile away in the stands.
There's no way I influenced the game at all.
No. Well, how did people respond to you, though? Did people around you get it, or were they annoyed?
They thought it was funny because they realized we were playing UConn and we were going to lose. It was inevitable, but I was still in it. I still cared.
I got Bernie Williams of the New York Yankees, Dante Bichette of the Colorado Rockies, and Mike Piazza at the time of the New York Mets, all to acknowledge me.
Really?
By facetiously writing them all game long, just like that. Rockies are down like 22-4 in the bottom of the ninth at home against the Yankees, interleague game. I'm in center field. I got my hat turned on its side like a shark bill.
Yeah.
Rally caps on.
Yeah.
Pulling my shirt up and everything. I'm like, all right, little bingo. We get like a walk with 2 outs. Ducks on the pond. Ducks on the pond. Back up, Williams. It's like Alex Cora at the plate who has 0 career home runs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some scrawny leadoff hitter with goggles.
You were getting your money's worth out of the ticket, weren't you?
And finally, Williams is just shaking his head and like, I broke him.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I got Piazza to finally acknowledge me as well. Your throws back to the pitcher are subpar.
That's great.
Things like that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I thought so.
That will crush the soul of a catcher.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed. I think there's a better throwback to the pitcher, sir. And finally, he gave me the point and nod as well. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, so people got the joke. They had fun. But what happens when you're actually super angry about a call? Surely you have yelled at a ref at some point when it didn't go your way.
Well, no.
Never. You've never said
I've done it before.
Unironically.
I've done it before. But however, at this stage in my life, I'm 42 years old. I'm a man. And I don't think it's right, especially at a high school level. Okay, these men and women are pillars of the community. They're taking their time to invest in our youth, and they're trying to give them the opportunity to compete, and they're doing their level best to make it fair. And for an adult to yell, for an adult man to yell in a combative way at a ref is unacceptable. It just is. One exception is...
You said your opinion. Now I'm going to say mine.
Well, I
think these people are out to destroy my kid, and they specifically have it out for him.
Yeah, that's right.
These are not pillars of the community. These are people who have some bizarre vendetta against my child and my child alone. And so I just can't help but notice that strike zone gets a lot bigger whenever my boy's up there. And how is he going to know that just can't be tolerated unless I notify him drunkenly in front of everyone and invite him to fight me in the parking lot afterwards? He's just going to keep doing it to my kid if I don't do that.
That's the caricature of the person that I'm talking.
Is that pretty close?
Yeah, it is.
Golly.
Recently, unfortunately, I tweeted, I was like, hey, don't yell at the refs. And I did it after a game.
So you had a little bit of passion, a little vinegar in
your blood? I did, and I was like, hey, guys, don't yell at the refs. And I'm like, why did I tweet that? What a moronic thing. So I eventually, Tara was like, hey, you need to delete this.
What did internet say to that?
Doesn't matter. I deleted it.
What did internet say to that?
I don't know. But in my heart, I was doing it because of the way certain individuals yelled at the refs. And I was like, man, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't stoop to that level.
Okay, all right.
So all that to say, would you want to be a ref? Could you contain yourself? Would you have the self-control to have a grown man or a grown lady yell at you in a way they're ignorant? They didn't see the thing you saw.
No, they did not.
They might have a point, but they're yelling at you in a combative way. Would you have the self-control to just drink that poison and just move on to the next play?
Well, I'm not a coward. I've just never been tested, is what I would have said up until last baseball season when I umped repeatedly.
Really?
Yeah, because they take family parent umps and nobody else would do it. I kind of got cut out of the deal on the coaching.
Is this like an official ump? You were like...
Yeah, it counts. I mean, yeah.
But did you get any training for this?
I mean, years of playing baseball and...
But was there you had
no, absolutely nothing.
Okay.
There was no rule book. There was no instruction in any way. They just were like, hey, nobody's umping the game. You know baseball, sort of, right? Yeah. Cool. You no longer are going to sit here and have fun and root for your son. You're now going to impartially officiate a game you did not come mentally prepared to officiate. And guess what?
What?
you're going to be accused of being biased because everybody knows that you got picked out of the crowd from the side that your son plays for. So now all of these fools over here are going to bark at you the whole time about balls and strikes and just straight up rules they don't even understand, like force outs and infield fly.
Oh, that's great.
That was a treat, an absolute treat. So I made a couple of comments. I made a couple of, sir, you're incorrect on your assessment of my balls and strikes calls. And as I'm doing this voluntarily, I'm going to ask you once to cease your commentary.
Oh, so you engaged.
I did. And the guy did this gesture, put his hands up, tilted his head like, fair point, I'm done. And he was done. Came up, shook my hand afterwards, apologized for the remarks, and that was that.
Oh, that's a good ending to that.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. But you did engage.
Oh, I engaged.
I've seen umps not engage.
I think that's the mature and responsible thing to do.
So the answer to my question is no. You did not have the self-control to not say anything.
I got it back under control. I took it from feeling not like a little league game where both dugouts of 12-year-old boys are feeling weird. I took it from feeling wrong to feeling fun for everybody again. And dude fully acknowledged it was his fault and apologized for doing it.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. It worked out that time.
Here's what I want to do today. We have a mutual friend,
Mhm.
you know this individual,
Mhm.
and I was recently informed of a new activity he's participating in, and I want to bring him on and talk about this.
All right.
Because he's starting to be one of these pillars of the community, and I want to see what that's like.
So who we bringing in?
Dan,
Yeah,
the guy that totally spanked you at racquetball.
Why would you even say that? That was a long time ago. Maybe things have changed. I mean, I haven't played racquetball since then, so probably they haven't, but you never know.
Oh, hey, Dan, how's it going?
I'm very well, thank you.
Do you remember that time you totally spanked Matt at racquetball?
Dude, you did that on the other side of the break. It doesn't need to come up again. But talk about something I won one time. One time my team won a Knowledge Bowl meet when I was in 9th grade. It was JV, but we won.
That's great.
So
We're all proud.
sometimes I win at things too, is the point. Sometimes I can think of one.
Well, to answer your question, though, yes, I remember that time that Matt Whitman and I played racquetball. Yes.
Dang it.
To be clear,
Everything is stupid.
I've played racket sports against Matt, and he has trounced me handily. So that makes me 2 orders of magnitude removed from your skill level at racquetball. So just so we're clear on that.
It was stunning. I've played what I consider to be really good players, and always intentionally at the club was like, all right, well, who's the best? Well, I want to play them then. My club is clearly inferior to yours because I've never seen that. It was thorough. It was not close. I tried hard. I was athletic. I hit good balls, and it didn't matter. He just knew what was going to happen before it happened. And I think he actually throttled back a little bit there toward the end.
Well, my friends and I typically fully acknowledge that I'm gifted in the Ocho sports.
Oh,
What-
sure.
What is the Ocho sports?
Well, it's a reference to the famous dodgeball movie from whenever I was in college. And the coverage of dodgeball was on ESPN The Ocho.
The Ocho, yes.
Yeah, so I can be good at sports that rise to that level, but not the
Not like basketball.
not the one people care about. Yeah.
Dude, here's the thing. I don't suck at racquetball. I beat good players with good records who win at things. There was no thought in my mind that I would lose so badly he would have to throttle back.
So
That's never happened to me. Like over the course of like a 4-year stretch, I didn't lose. I played every week against the best people I could find. I genuinely thought I was good at that sport. I'm not kidding.
you take it pretty seriously, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I got into it right after college and joined a league, and that was my eye-opening experience. You know, I got beat by the old gray-haired men and, handily.
They're good.
And they educated me on a few things, and I found a group of guys that just happened to be really good, even in small-town Alabama. And they taught me a lot of things, and I just kept at it for 15 years. So
Okay.
it just happened.
It's your thing.
Yeah. It was definitely my go-to adult sport.
So a question about that is when you're playing racquetball, there is no official. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So
Unless it's a tournament.
there is an official in a tournament.
Yeah, it's typically whoever just won on the court that you're playing on, because it's kind of a low-key thing.
What happens in racquetball if there's a close call? And forgive me for not knowing. In racquetball, it can't bounce twice, right?
Correct.
I guess that's pretty clear.
Twice on the floor.
Twice on the floor?
It can't bounce twice on the floor.
So what would be a close thing in racquetball? Like, is there a line you can't hit it into or out of? Or
No, that's squash, I think, which is dumb.
It's a dumb sport.
Yeah.
It's like the pickleball of racquetball.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty good. I
I
that.
like you guys.
That's great.
No, skipping in would be one that's a close call where you don't agree. That's where it hits your racket. You're trying to get it to the front wall, but really it hits the floor first, because a lot of racquetball is how close to the floor can you hit it without letting it skip before it hits the wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you'll disagree with your opponent on where, if it skipped in.
Did it skip in or not?
Okay,
Yeah.
so what do you do in a case like that?
I mean, rarely it's fisticuffs.
Okay.
No, I mean, mostly I'm playing with the same guys over and over, so we're friends. And, we luckily don't try to cheat. And so if it's even a question, you kind of defer to, you didn't get the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
And then you just play it over or whatever. It's fine.
Okay.
Move on.
So the reason I bring all this up is because we were talking the other day, Matt. Dan and I were talking, and he told me that he recently, what is it you're doing? You're a ref or an ump, or what are you doing?
Yeah, so this is the soccer field, so we do call it a ref. I'll fill you in on anything you're unclear about the sport of soccer.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. But I've been reffing high school soccer games. I had gotten my certifications and things to referee club games last season. And then here we go. It's the high school season. My daughter's playing high school ball now, and so I'm not coaching at the moment. So there was an opportunity for me to get involved a little bit, and it's fun to me. So I signed up.
How extensive was the training?
It was more a test that was surprisingly hard to me. I've played soccer literally all my life. So now 35 years.
Wait, you're 35?
No. Let's go back. I started when I was 5 or 6. And so playing for 35, I'm 41 now. And,
I was about to feel way better about you murdering me
No,
at
no,
racquetball. But now
No,
I
don't
go
feel
back.
any
Now
better.
I'm back
Yeah.
to feeling equally as awful.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So-
you've been playing forever, so you
Yeah.
know a lot about soccer that way.
Having played, you think you know everything. And then I took this test and I got, 60% right. So I had to go study the rule book pretty extensively. And this was like on Christmas break or something. I'm doing all this stuff, and I thought I would knock it out in 20 minutes. And 4 hours later, I was still, taking this test.
Really?
So anyway,
4 hours?
Yeah, definitely.
That's like the ACT.
Yeah, it felt that way in a lot of ways. Because, the questions were trying to trip you up, make sure you knew the intricacies of the rule so that when there's a close call, you know what to do.
Huh.
Okay.
So you passed it on your second try?
Second try, yeah.
Whoa.
At what percentage?
I'd have to go back to look. Just barely. Not perfect.
So what did you have to get to pass it?
Hey, wait, to be clear,
90?
You're a smart man. You're a systems engineer. Like, you manage people. Like, you just, I don't know if you knew this, Matt, but Dan keeps, my words, not yours, you wouldn't say it this way, but he keeps a large chemical plant working. It's a system level. You have to understand the ins and outs, valves, pipes, all the, that's fair to say that. Right?
It's not exactly a soccer game.
Yeah. Yeah. But so, like, this is not, you're not a normal person. You're probably above average intelligence, I'd say. Probably.
Thanks for the kind compliment.
That
Yes,
was a
okay.
lovely compliment. One of the nicer things you've said all day.
Probably
So
undeserved.
are we talking 90% that you had to get?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So you're wrong on 10% of your calls.
Sure. On the test.
Boy, that's
and
pretty
probably in life too. Yeah.
Really?
Okay. I'm half joking, but also I'm half serious. Is there some kind of teaching or refereeing ethics component to this where they're like, here's what you do when you're wrong and you know you were wrong? Or is that just more of a matter of your personality coming through when you know you've made a mistake?
That's a great question. No, there is no component of it that is like that. And so, no, there's no screening process for who these megalomaniacs that think they can possibly ref are. No screening.
Well, why the heck is there not an ethics portion?
That's a great
There
question.
should be an ethics portion
in
terms of there should be, this is going to sound really counselor languagey, but humor me, please. there should be a component to this training that is like, here are tools that you can use when you feel the following. When this happens, use this tool emotionally or verbally to counteract the impulse to issue a retributive call or a call designed to save face. There should be a paragraph in there that's like, we all know what it's like to want to save face when we've made a mistake and people are on us. Here's the nature of your job, though, and here's why we never, like, there should be some kind of like 10 commandments of reffing and then a whole ethical component to set you up to have thought that through before you're under the pressure, I would think.
There is some similar themes, maybe, in some of the classroom stuff. Forgot to mention there's a whole classroom portion, too.
Did you have to pay for this?
Yeah, like $40 or something.
Okay.
I paid to take the test. I paid to get a background check. I paid to attend this classroom thing, but they skin it a different way, I would say. They frame it more like you are a professional. So you don't engage when the parents are yelling at you and, you portray this image of competence and control of the game and knowledge of the rules.
Impartiality.
Yeah. I feel this too when I ref. It's like I'm playing a character.
Huh.
Like I said, I played forever, right? And I coach now too. So I see refs and I know what they do that makes me respect them or not, right? And so I take...
Like what? Example?
Well, especially in soccer, you're expecting a ref to be near the play, right? And so it requires some level of running and fitness, whatever. If a ref is really just phoning it in, he'll walk in the circle at half field and never get close to the play and then make calls or not make calls that he's really not in position to make.
Huh.
And so, that's just one element of where, a ref would not earn my respect. Another would be like if they start to get criticized and then go on a crazy power trip. I've seen that countless times, and I know the individuals even in my area that are going to do that. And I warn my parents, warn my players, hey, say nothing to this ref. He will go on a crazy power trip, and we will not get any fair calls for the rest of the game. Yeah. And
what's something proactive you've seen a ref do that is above and beyond that would cause you to respect them?
The way that you interact with the coaches and players even before the game. They show up early, they're checking the field and the net and, all these minutia that most people just assume are right when they show up. That ref cares about the players and their safety, and he's invested in this being a fair contest. The way that they might interact with the coaches and the players before the game, hey, this is what I expect from you. I've taken these things and made them part of my routines. I'll call the coaches and captains in before the game and say, oh, congratulations on being nominated as your team's captain. That's an honor.
Wow.
I expect this from you.
That is nice.
Yeah.
How long were you a coach before you decided to be a ref?
So I guess I started coaching when my oldest daughter started playing. Yeah, her very first season, which would have been probably 10 years ago.
Okay. And you just now started to ref, like this year or last year? Or
yeah, within the last year. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how has your opinion of the game changed since you've made that transition? Like, do you see it differently?
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a really cool new perspective, and it will change the way that I coach, certainly, and probably the way I play too, in some respects. But it's just a completely different perspective. And again, I've learned brand new things to learn to respect or not respect about refs that show up for my games. The sideline commentary in the ref community is kind of funny. You can tell the people that are there for a paycheck or, the people that actually care. So it's telling and interesting.
Well, what kind of stuff do they say?
There are guys that they've never played soccer, don't particularly care for soccer.
I can't imagine.
They need something to do in the off season of officiating football. And so here they are on the soccer field.
What?
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't even like it?
No.
Well, yeah. soccer's communist. Everybody knows this.
Obviously, it's a pinko sport. I totally get it. Dirty pinky communists.
I'm choosing not to engage.
Yeah. So is the money that good? Like they're doing this in a community for, I thought it was like $50 a game or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more than that for a high school game. But, you do that for 2 or 3 or 4 nights a week if you so choose. And hey, it's great.
And you're in better shape.
Yeah, I reffed 2 games on last Monday and got 8 miles.
I was going to ask what your step count was.
Yeah,
That's
8 miles. Yeah.
That's incredible. So, okay. So I just recently think I started to understand offsides. So there you've got the head ref. Is that what they're called?
The center, yeah.
The center. And what do you call the other 2 refs? They're on the sideline.
Those are the assistant referees, 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Okay, so what position do you serve?
So, I mean, your assigner might put you on center one game and then assistant the next, just because of how many steps you're taking as the center. A lot of people can't do that for 2, 3, 4 games a day.
Is the money the same?
No, it's like $10 less or something. It's fine.
Okay. So when you are the center, am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When you are the center, is it expected that the other refs submit to your authority?
Somewhat, yeah. And there's, the good centers will have a pregame conference and say, assistant referee, this is what I expect from you. Some say they don't want the assistant to call fouls, really. They want to keep that control for themselves. Some will say, no, I want you to absolutely give your opinion. And the way they do that is they shake their flag. There are all these specific, actions that they take. But the assistant shakes their flag to indicate, I think there was a foul there. Some center referees will wave that off and say, no, I disagree and I trump you. And some will just defer to that better angle. Okay, the assistant referee is closer. They had a good view of this, and I'm going to go with their call.
Can they just call it? Is there another degree of certainty above that the assistant 1 or 2? Is there another flag signal to be like, no, that definitely was, we have to call it?
I've not seen somebody just have to be persistent like that. There's no way for the AR to trump the center. We talk about it as who's got the whistle. The center referee has the whistle. The assistant referee cannot stop the game because they do not have a whistle.
Oh.
So that's the gavel. That's what puts you in charge of
Absolutely.
the courtroom and all the judgments.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically getting recommendations, amicus curiae briefs, friend of the court briefs.
Yeah.
To say, in the opinion of this hired observer, there was a thing that happened. Sir? And if you see it, you blow the whistle. And if not, you don't, and play just continues.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
they really are assistants then. It's not like in baseball where the home plate umpire is often the crew chief, and there's certain calls that belong to the third base umpire or the first base umpire. I mean, you're not going to see a home plate umpire overrule a close call at first base. It belongs to that first base umpire. Is there anything that belongs to the assistant referees?
Yeah, offsides is what truly belongs to the assistant referees. And also whether the ball crosses the goal line or not. The assistant referee is supposed to be in a position where they can clearly see down the goal line to see, did the whole ball cross the whole line? That's a goal.
Dude, I went to a soccer match. So Huntsville has a new club. What's it called? Huntsville
City FC. Football club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic event. I really, not a soccer fan. I really, really enjoyed it. And there was this one guy, Bolaños. What's his first name? Is it Danny Bolaños? Johnny Bolaños.
That's a good name.
He's him and George are friends. They're buddies. And so Johnny Bolaños hat trick. I kid you not. I know nothing about soccer. One of the shots went up. I guess it's called the crossbar at the top. It hit the crossbar at the top, bounced down into the goal, but it had so much spin on it, it came out. But it clearly crossed the line. And they did not give point or goal.
Goal.
The goal. They did not give the goal to Huntsville. And I was furious.
What'd you yell?
I put my hands on my head like Surrender Cobra.
No.
Surrender Cobra.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you serious? He scored. I don't know anything about soccer, but even I know he scored.
You kind of yelled at a ref.
I did. Now that you've Kind of put me in a corner. I realized I did
I'm
that.
trying to put you in a corner.
Yeah.
You put yourself in a corner.
One of the cool things about going to a Huntsville soccer game is that there's an actual risk of damaging a rocket engine if you miss the goal, because they have a big rocket engine behind the goal. And like when they start the game, let's get ready to whatever you say at soccer. And then they go, psh, they have these like fire extinguishers and it makes it look the rocket engine's firing, It's pretty funny. But anyway, 2 or 3 times, they're playing. And I was like, you're about to hit the engine, because I worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he clearly missed a goal. It was incredible. And then I don't know how fouls work. Is it called a foul in soccer?
Sure.
I don't know how fouls work. But what I do know is they were getting handsy.
Oh.
They were getting handsy. And so I said things like, he's getting handsy.
Yes, right in keeping with what your opinion was.
Right. I know. I said that. And then the ref wouldn't call it. But then on the other side, he would call like these ticky-tack things. So they didn't give us a goal. And they called the ticky-tack thing on the other side and gave them a goal kick, which I don't know when you get goal kicks. And we ended up losing because of that. It hurt my heart. I felt
it wasn't
things.
truth.
No, it wasn't truth. And that bothers me.
I do know that bothers you.
And so, but I had a blast. But I do know that the refs influence the game. So as a soccer ref, do you know when you miss a call like that? Because if the guy was supposed to be at the goal line, he wasn't. Somebody messed up.
Yeah. I mean, most games, the ref, especially the center, probably usually the AR2, they know of a couple that they got really, really wrong. You just hope that they're not those that actually influence the outcome of the game.
So what happens?
Well, let me ask you this. What Destin just said before that goes downstream. You hear a fan in the crowd yelling things like, they're getting handsy. Come on, ref. They're getting handsy. Just like that.
That's
all enunciated and everything.
That's exactly
Do
what
you
I
hear
said.
that and think to yourself, shut up, you idiot. You're not out here. Or do you think to yourself, that gentleman there in section 4, seat 3, he's got a point. They are getting a little handsy. I actually appreciate him bringing that to my attention, though I'll never let on. Is there any time ever when people chirping from the crowd causes you to be like, I could use to be a bit more attentive to that? Or are they usually just running their mouths?
I mean, you got to say more than half of the time they're just running their mouths and probably wrong, but there are.
Now, wait a second. I've been to exactly one soccer game. Are you saying I could be wrong?
There's just a chance.
Okay.
Well, now, hold on. Let's settle this. Were they getting handsy?
They were getting dude.
He wasn't wrong.
So many hands.
I think that was hurtful.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure they shook hands afterwards.
So they're just like
fine.
me. They're just running their mouth.
Yeah.
I don't know actually how handsy you're allowed to get.
Okay.
I mean, are you allowed to touch other people?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Destin was right
Yeah.
and also wrong.
No, not completely wrong. The ref has to kind of establish what he's going to allow and what he's not pretty early in the game. One thing that can really allow a game to go south is the referee allowing too much physical contact early in the game. It's really hard to rein it in after you've established, no, I'm going to allow that much physical contact. Then you have trouble drawing that line, and the players are going to get mad and they're going to retaliate, and then it goes off the rails quick.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, I'm excited about this particular Patreon spot. So we've been exclusively supported by patrons for a while now, since the beginning of the year, for sure.
Since the beginning, the very beginning. They are,
Yep.
well, but in terms of just general sponsorship, the patrons are the most faithful, long-standing sponsor, and it's not even close.
Oh yeah, it's not even close. So first of all, thank you to everyone who supports the podcast, No Dumb Questions, here at patreon.com/NoDumbQuestions. And I have a special treat today, and I'm very excited about it. Should we tell them?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's explain who Allison is
Okay.
and the role she played in putting this together, because I think that's important, because more and more people are going to hear from Allison. She's our friend. She's helping us out with this. Explain that.
Patreon's a huge deal, has been for a long time. Allison is a lady that has been helping us. She's a stay-at-home mom. She also does this on the side. She's been helping us run Patreon because we want to make sure that everybody that supports No Dumb Questions, if they have a question, they get it like a human answer. That's what we're going for. Like a personal touch, best we can. She's doing her best. We asked Allison, we said, hey, could you just have a metaphorical hat and just draw from this metaphorical hat and pick some people and ask them if they would like to mention why they support the podcast. Like just 30 seconds. If you get 30 seconds on the podcast, what would you say? And we asked her to do that, and we got responses.
And to be clear, we made sure to communicate that it was fine if all you want to do is just come on and make fun of us.
Yeah.
Totally cool.
We
legit. I will publish that crap. Go crazy.
Yeah, we did, and it was fun. And so the first one we have here is from Nick. And shall I just play it and we see what it says here?
Yeah, we'll let Nick have the last word on this spot. So thanks to everybody who supports at patreon.com/nodumbquestions. And thanks particularly to Nick.
Yeah, here we go.
Hey, I'm Nick, currently living in Finland. If someone were to ask me, what's one piece of media that has benefited your life the most? My answer would be Sharknado. But No Dumb Questions is a close second. I honestly feel like I'm actually becoming a better person just by listening to this podcast, specifically your philosophies of how you tackle different problems and life in general. Also, I don't remember for how long I've been a Patreon, but it's probably at least a decade. Love you guys and keep being yourselves.
Okay, Nick doesn't get the last word.
I felt the Sharknado, but that was awesome. Nick's in Finland.
Well played.
And he's been supporting on Patreon. That's great.
Yes, and he's clearly funny and savvy. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, we love you too, Nick. And I will say the one word I know in Finnish, Gedos, which is thank you.
I assumed it was camera or helicopter or laminar, but
No.
thank you. Okay.
Gedos, Nick. We're grateful for your support on Patreon. We really appreciate it. So at that Final Four game, this is on topic here. So I went with a good friend of mine, Ty, and he said something that blew my mind. He turns to me before the game starts, before they do the jump ball, and he said, you're going to see something happen here that you've never seen. And I was like, okay, what? He said, have you ever been to a basketball game at this level? I was like, absolutely not. I have never been at a basketball game in a stadium this big or whatever you call this. He said, this is what's going to happen. This is the Final Four. The ref does not want to influence the game. So you are going to see less fouls called here than you've ever seen to begin the game. And then what's going to happen is when they go in for halftime, they're going to look at the board and they're going to be like, oh my goodness, we called this many fouls on one side and this many fouls on the other. Or they're going to realize we have called a very few amount, like we're not even into bonus. And then what's going to come back is whistle, 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 whistle. They're going to like bang, 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 bang. You said get control of the game. Is that what you said?
Yeah. If you've allowed something, it's really hard to get it back under control. So a lot of the coaching of the soft skills, maybe, of being a ref is consistency, setting your precedent and then being consistent with it.
It happened exactly like Ty said it would. So
I bet so.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. Like in a soccer game, I've never experienced that. I've never played or coached or anything at a high level like that, but I could hardly imagine, being on a ref crew and them saying, oh gosh, we've only called 2 fouls all game long. We better step that up. Like that's just not a thing in soccer. Maybe it's particular to basketball or basketball at that specific level.
We're going to do a thing. I'm going to count to 3, and where 4 would go, we're all simultaneously going to say what we think would be the most difficult sport to officiate. Think?
Wait.
Do you have it?
Yeah. Wait.
I think the answers are really obvious.
Oh,
I'm
wait,
sure
no,
we're all
wait,
going to
no,
say
no,
the
this
same
is-
thing. Okay, I'm going to count
No,
to
I
3.
am not ready.
And then on 4.
For you to say, why is it difficult? Because of how hard the sport is, or how?
Just how hard it would be to officiate that sport. We'll just all say what it is. I'm sure we're all going to say the same thing.
Okay, let's go.
1, 2, 3.
Water
curling.
polo.
Water polo would be hard.
I can't swim that well.
I don't know how you would
What did
officiate
you
water.
say?
I went with curling.
No, curling is
No.
numbers, dude. That's the easiest thing.
There's a lot of this I don't like. I mean,
Foolish.
some of these guys with their broom technique, to me, that seems illegal.
I went with
don't know how
American
you'd know.
football specifically because of holding.
Holding and PI, pass interference.
Yes.
I would go. My honest answer is basketball. I think basketball would be a nightmare to officiate.
Well, somebody walks every single play.
Yeah.
People commit violations. I mean, a violation is always occurring on the floor in basketball, constantly. Everything is subjective. I mean, you see the calls like where somebody is gaining control of a ball and someone reaches over from behind and knocks it out of their hands, out of bounds. Theoretically, that call should go toward the guy who had possession of the ball and it got knocked out of his hands. But now they'll review calls and they'll see that ball got hit and then rolled off of a fingertip and they'll reverse the... I mean, it's just impossible.
Yeah, you're talking about
sense of it.
Milliseconds.
Yes. When is this a foul and when is it not?
The bang, like
charging versus...
For baseball, the bang
block
at first base. Like, that's a hard call at times. I know Ty goes to the runner, but like at times...
I will disagree with you on that. I think that's an easier call than most basketball calls in the paint as to whether it should be a foul or a no call. Because in baseball, you get an audible cue that's very helpful. So if you're calling first base, I'm not looking at the fielder. I'm looking at the base and I'm listening for the pop of the glove. It is incredible how high you can get your consistency of accurate bang calls because you hear the pop. It's all just ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. And they sound different. And so you just look at one and listen to the other, and it tends to sort itself out pretty well. The accuracy ratio of calls at first base is phenomenal.
Is it?
Because
what about that no-hitter? Or was it a perfect game?
It was a perfect game. And you're talking about the one by Galarraga.
Yes.
Armando Galarraga, not the famous Galarraga. That's Andres, the big cat Galarraga. Armando Galarraga. The umpire at first base was Jim Joyce, a beloved umpire. Big, walrus chops, mustache guy. Everybody likes Jim Joyce. Class act, a dude who would own his mistakes. So perfect game means 27 hitters come to bat and you get 27 outs. Nothing goes wrong. Nobody reaches base. I mean, it's a baseball gem, a rarity, right? And this pitcher for the Detroit Tigers has 26 of the 27 outs recorded. So there's 2 outs in the 9th inning and there's a ground ball to the right side of the infield. And at this point, I mean, even their opponents are kind of rooting for the perfect game. Like, come on. Like, this is a no-name pitcher. How has he done this? And so it's the kind of play where somebody's got to go and cover the base. And so the first baseman, who at the time was Miguel Cabrera, he's just retired, surefire Hall of Famer, fields a ground ball, flips it to first base with the pitcher himself, Galarraga, covering, and Galarraga stretches out, guy's out by a step, 2-3 feet.
Oh, dude, it's crazy.
Mean, it's not close. And the officials on the play, do you remember the call, Dan?
No.
The officials on the play are like, ground ball to the right side. Cabrera's up with it. To Galarraga, it's a perfect what? Oh, Jim Joyce. No, Jim Joyce. Did he miss the bag? He must have missed the bag. And they show the replay. No, Jim Joyce. They say this guy's name 5 times on this famous call. So you got Al Michaels, do you believe in miracles? Yes, at the 1980 Lake Placid Olympics with USA Hockey beating Russia. And then one of the other greatest, most famous calls ever is, oh no, and then your name again and again.
I've got the audio right here. Do you want to hear it?
I do want to hear it. Here
comes number 27.
Yeah, listen to this.
It's Jason Donald and a crowd of better than 17,000 to its feet.
The guy we've been waiting for all night.
Ground ball, right side. Cabrera will cut it off. Galarraga covers. He's out. No, he's safe. He is safe. He is safe at first base. And here comes Jim Leyland. Oh my goodness. Jim Joyce said he was safe at first base. You make the call. Cabrera, Galarraga.
Did he miss the base? He's out. Why is he safe?
He must have missed the base.
Are you kidding me? Why is he safe?
You see right here.
Why is he safe? Oh my goodness, Jim Joyce, no!
Oh, jeez Louise.
Oh my goodness.
What a travesty.
What do you think
What
when
an
you see that, Dan?
absolute travesty for Armando.
What's going on in the ump's head at this moment? What's happening?
I'm assuming at that level, he has view of a jumbotron even, and he knows he messed up. His heart is sinking, but something in him will not allow him to reverse what he's done. Probably there's not even opportunity for him to do it.
Nope.
Legally.
It's like the Achaemenid court of Persia. So let it be written, so let it be done. The word of the great King Xerxes, his law is binding. Nothing can be done.
Wow.
You can't, I mean, maybe now there's an allowance to overturn that, but historically, baseball, call's made, that's the call.
That hurts. You feel bad for him. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Forgive me for asking you this with a microphone on. What's the worst call you've ever made?
It was probably a no call. That happens a lot in soccer where you're allowing a play to continue for some reason. Ideally, you're looking for whether an advantage develops for the team that was fouled. You're allowing play to continue. You have the recourse to say, oh, no advantage developed. Now I'll blow my whistle and then give the penalty, whatever it was. And so
what you're doing there is you don't want to penalize them twice by having them, one, take a penalty, but then the ball bounces their way anyway, but you're already on the whistle, and so you've stripped them of an additional advantage. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, so it's kind of the other way. Okay, so they got fouled. I saw that. Okay, but still they retained the ball somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they're still attacking. So the referee in that situation is supposed to give a hand signal and say, I'm playing advantage, keep playing, something along those lines, to where the players on the field all know what's going on. There was a foul, but there's been no whistle yet, so we keep playing. The team that was fouled is still in an advantaged position.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so if they end up scoring or advancing the ball in some significant way, you never blow that whistle. Game continues. As the ref, you have to be kind of replaying that in your mind and making decisions about whether a significant enough advantage was gained.
So this is the scenario in your terrible missed call?
Yeah, I'd say so. A lot of times, you're sitting there trying to make that decision. Have they gained a relevant advantage or not? And, time passes. The advantage didn't quite develop the way that you thought it was going to. But now too much time has passed. You can't go back and blow the whistle. The game has moved on, and so must you.
I saw I really like watching John Boy on YouTube.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah, he's great.
Do you know what this is, Dan?
Mm-mm.
John Boy Media? Destin explained John Boy Media.
He's a Yankees fan that is just fantastic at breaking. He calls them the breakdowns, and he does a very, very good job of watching a play, and then he'll just describe it. He'll just replay it, and he'll describe everything that happens from you see the ump comes over and he's talking to him here, and then that lady in the stands right there, she doesn't know what's going on. Let's go.
He's like, what are you looking at?
He's reading their lips, and he's saying, just like Matt just did,
don't talk to me that way. What are you looking at, though?
It's great. And so the other day, he did a breakdown on a play where an ump, basically, the ump apologized for missing a third strike call. And he did a whole breakdown on it. And he was like, yeah, watch this. So he struck him out clearly. He's been trying to hit that corner all night. Ump's not giving it to him. And then the pitcher throws the pitch. It's clearly a strike. He doesn't call it. Next pitch, the batter hits it, and they field it and throw him out. Ump walks over to the pitcher and says, hey, man, I missed that. I apologize. And I thought that was awesome. And the pitcher, to his credit, when it was clearly a third strike, he started walking to the dugout, and he's like, oh, he didn't call it a strike. He just calmly walks back to the plate, to the rubber, and just plays it off. And in that moment, you're like, okay, I respect the ump. because he admitted that he made a mistake. I respect the pitcher because he kept his head. That pitcher's going to get that strike zone that he wants in this next inning. Like, it's going to happen. Do you feel that way? Like when somebody respects you that you... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I have a follow-up question to that. It's for both of you.
Yeah.
Is that good? Should that happen? Are makeup calls ethical?
The answer is no. But this is the beautiful part about, having played soccer for so long and having coached soccer and then becoming a ref. Like, my whole career as I've played soccer, and especially as I've coached it, I've coached my players to play the whole game. And what I mean by that is play that ref. Respect him at all times. No. I do not teach my players to flop. Not in the least. No, I teach my players to respect the ref no matter what he does. Even when he blows calls, even when he does something stupid, you respect the ref and let the other team make him their enemy. I've taught my players that consistently and done it on the field, and it works.
How does it work? What happens?
Well, the ref is a human, and he gets mad at one team that's disrespecting him, and the calls seem to go my way.
Do they?
Yes, absolutely.
Should they? Is that ethical?
Either
the foul happened or it didn't.
Sure.
Either the ball crossed the line or it didn't. What does it have to do with anything, whether someone's nice?
Can I answer?
I would love for you to, because I'm squirming right now.
I think sportsmanship should be rewarded.
By falsifying the results of something you're judging?
That was an excellent chess move, Whitman, and I'm just going to acknowledge that. That's the equivalent of check. Okay, I moved out. Check again. Okay, I acknowledge you've bested me here.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't going to touch that question at all.
I would do it. I'm just going to level with you. I don't know. Sometimes I see the refs do things and I know what they're doing and I'm like, whatever, he gets it. Like, for example, the other night. So there's a time limit on the baseball game. The ref's looking at the timer on the scoreboard. He sees there's 3 minutes left. These kids come up and he says, okay, well, if I end this inning in the next 3 minutes, then we have to play a whole nother inning. So he calls ball, puts that kid on first base.
Were they balls?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Tara was watching.
Well, if they were balls, then that's good. That kid should be on first base.
You're right. What I do know is when that timer hit 0, every pitch was a strike. And struck that next kid out. He took his ump mask off and he walked straight to his car. Like, I know what he was doing. He's like, hey, it's time for us to go home. It's 9:00. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So what's your, I'm not saying that's right, but I know that happened. What I do like, though, is if somebody's acting like a clown, especially the other coach. I saw a coach call timeout, not to talk to his players, but to argue with the ref. And I was like, if I was the ref right now, I would bury this guy in technicals and call. Like, you have some leeway. I think it's built it. Well,
kids on the field didn't do it. Coach called timeout to yell at him. The kids didn't yell at him.
Okay.
What? I mean, what? You punish the kids because the guy's a jerk?
Yes. Yes, I would. I'm just telling you what I would do. I'm not saying it's right.
Either the ball was in or it was not.
Yes, you're right.
Full stop.
You're right.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, if you've got one team, I saw it. We played a basketball game not long ago. You know my son. You know he's been injured often. We played a basketball game, and the coach is clearly coaching his kids to, hey, when you're setting a pick, the ref's not calling it. Throw a shoulder into his jaw.
Okay, well, basketball knows that can be a thing, and so it is built in something to its legal system to give leeway to the official to punish that without going outside the boundaries.
The technical
of the rules.
foul.
The technical foul, the flagrant, the take foul. I mean, it's like first, second, third degree murder. And in the NBA, that second tee, you're done. You're ejected. You get ejected so many times. You get so many technicals in a game or in a season, you get suspended. Doesn't matter if all the technicals were joke fouls. A technical foul, for people who aren't into basketball, is what? How would you describe that?
It's just basically being a jerk and trying to hurt people. That's basically it. Yeah.
Right. So it's not in the course of play.
Yeah.
You did something beyond the boundaries of play, verbally, physically, demonstratively, whatever.
So
you broke the rules.
So I'm currently angry at soccer refs. A game recently, I wasn't there.
The handsy thing.
The handsy, you know.
Oh,
A game recently, my son was playing, and I've talked to several of the fathers. You know, mamas can mama bear, but I've talked to several of the dads that were there, and I was like, "Hey, all I know is my son's in the emergency room. What happened?" And to hear it played back to me from level-headed people that are not as emotionally involved as we are as parents, to hear it played back, my son was just beating this one kid. He was beating him down the line. I don't know soccer. He's beating him to the ball a lot. They said he was beating him, whatever that means in soccer. Probably means something to you. So this kid gets frustrated. One time when my son beats him, he puts 2 hands in his back, decleats my son, puts him on the ground, breaks his shoulder. He's out. He's done for the season. I said, oh, wow, that's awful. So they showed them the color thing, right? They pull out their little, I'm going to show you these colors because you did something wrong. That's how you say that, I'm sure, right? No. They just kept playing. But they stopped the game and they went and scooped up my son. Sandlins don't flop. We're not allowed to flop. That's just not who we are.
no,
We don't do that. But there was no foul. And I was like, well, maybe they didn't see it. Clearly, he's in the emergency room. So in soccer, what's the deal with the whole flopping thing?
no. Hold that question, please.
Okay, holding the question.
Based on the description you just heard from my friend, who is understandably passionate about the situation, I feel some of it as well. I like his kid. Made me angry to hear what had happened. Assuming that the characterization we just heard is accurate,
Which it might not be.
that's why I said assuming, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not an accusation that anybody's being dishonest.
Mhm.
You didn't see it, I didn't see it. So
Yep.
assuming it's been relayed to us accurately, what would have been the correct call by the center official in that situation?
I mean, it sounds like a yellow for sure. So that's a direct free kick. A good referee should have kind of had it on the radar that one kid's getting beat over and over and over, and he's probably getting mad about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you're thinking at that level.
Yeah, definitely. You can start to see when 2 specific players are kind of going at it a little bit and kind of getting rougher, and one got a pretty hard challenge, but it wasn't really a foul. So the other one's probably about to retaliate. You feel those things, at least as a player who has become a ref. You have a sense for those things because I did all of those things last year when I played adult league soccer. I love a good physical challenge, but there's a point when, hey, this guy's trying to hurt me and I didn't show up for that. Especially as an adult, but the kids are just the same and they have less self-control than us. So the good referee has to realize that somebody's about to get mad and somebody's about to do something stupid.
So
And
do
then what do you
tell him
do?
that?
Well, yeah, again, if a ref is trying to control the game and in good faith is wanting to promote good sportsmanship and things like that, he's going to get close to those 2 players and he's going to talk about the thing that's bubbling up. Okay. Hey, 14, I saw you do whatever it was that you just did. Cool it. You demonstrate that you're there, you're paying attention, and you're in control of the game, and you'll take action if they don't obey what you're saying.
Interesting. I've had umpires do that. I've never been ejected from anything in any sport, I don't think, but I came close. I think that is true. It's possible that I've been kicked out of something. I can't remember anything. Maybe I got kicked out for hitting a kid with a pitch, but I didn't mean to hit him. It seems like I either got warned or kicked out in a game once for that. It wasn't malicious. I don't throw hard enough, or I didn't at that point to hurt anybody anyway. But there was a time where a kid came inside on me. That is, he threw pitches in on my body. First 2 pitches at the at-bat. If you're a ball player, a guy's relative accuracy. When he's throwing at you. When he made a mistake. He was throwing at me. So he threw 2, and the second one was right in my ribs. I just got out of the way, grazed my jersey. I didn't get the call, didn't get the free pass to first, and I pointed at him.
Ooh.
I pointed at him with my left hand.
Do it again and I'm going to whip you kind of thing?
Yes. I was a senior in high school, and immediately I wore number 6. The umpire, his 2 hands over his head, time, 6. I'm like, what? Oh, he means me. I'm like, why are you yelling at me? 6. Okay, I'm supposed to look at you. Hey, I'll handle him. You shut your mouth and you just bat.
Oh, wow.
That's good officiating.
And it did not escalate any further. That was it. We finished. I don't know what happened with the at-bat.
But you still remember that scolding.
It happened in front of an entire stadium. I mean, and everybody heard it. Like it got, ooh, we got that. It was all quiet and everybody's like, fight, fight, fight. And then this umpire's huge lungs bellowed in front of everyone. And he didn't correct the pitcher. He corrected me, but the pitcher didn't point. I pointed. I took it outside the realm of baseball, and that's what he smacked down. And this is the first time I'd ever tried that on. I don't think I'll ever do that again, probably. But yeah, I looking back on it, I feel like he did a real good job. Like that was a good call.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And like, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. That's a character that you can put on, even if that's not the way you are in real life as a referee or official, whatever. You've seen that.
I have.
On TV or whatever. You've seen referees do that, and the situation sometimes demands it. So just stepping into that, being willing to step into that, gets you back in control of that game.
Have you ever heard of Nigel Owens?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know that I have.
So I don't know much about rugby, but what I do know is I love Nigel Owens highlights. He's this ref, and he's just absolute unit. And he will just take control of a situation. Let me see if I can play this for you.
I don't think we've met before, but I'm the referee on this field, not you. Stick to your job and I will do mine. If I hear you shouting for anything again, I'm going to be penalising you. This is not soccer. Is that clear? Back you go and get on with the game. We've had about 10 minutes of the game. All the problems are with you guys here. It ends now or you won't take part in the game. It's as simple as that.
Long story short, Nigel Owens is an absolute unit, and he gets control of the game. And like he takes these huge, like 300-pound dudes, and he'll point at them and he'll say, "Excuse me, I don't think we've met before. I'm the referee." And he'll just own these dudes, and then he makes fun of soccer at the same time. No offense, Dan.
No offense.
That's all right.
But he does it to tell them, "I expect you to behave like men. And the fact that you're not respecting me is not acceptable, and you're going to fix it right now." And I just stopped this game in front of 40,000 people, or however many people are watching these.
So he's acting like an adult and treating them like adults. And when they don't act like adults, he, like an adult, tells them, "I need you to act like an adult."
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful.
And it's
Perfect.
awesome.
It's great. What I don't want is a highlight reel of a bunch of idiot refs, and I can name one from every single major sport that I follow. No, I couldn't name a petty hockey ref. There might be one, but basketball, baseball, football, I know their names.
Really?
People are screaming them right now as they listen to this. They're yelling things like Angel Hernandez.
Really?
If you know, you know. They're yelling things like Tony Brothers. If you know, you know. There are officials who insert themselves into the game. You act petty, they act petty back. And it detracts from everything. And you know dang well, next time down the floor, that guy's going to have a call. Go against him. It isn't going to be rational. It's not going to make any sense. And if he questions it, Tony Brothers is going to tee him up. Give him a technical foul, that is, for those who don't watch basketball. You can see it coming from a mile away. Dan, the same way you can see players getting worked up, and you feel the impulse as the center referee to say, "Hey, let's preemptively shut this down, guys." So I, as a fan, can see Angel Hernandez getting worked up in a baseball game. I'm like, oh, he just lost face. This guy cannot psychologically handle losing face. He's going to go do some bat crap crazy thing right now. He's going to screw up the game to in some way compensate for his emotional neediness. And it's going to be awful. And it's going to be all over the internet. And the only person who doesn't seem to know how bad his reputation is the guy doing it. So you've got these officials who do not act like adults and do not demand that out of the players. Then the players act more childish. And it becomes this cycle of, it's not even about the basketball game anymore. This team is playing the refs tonight. And it's just infuriating to watch, but you can see it warming up. You can see them ramping up to this pettiness. And then the game is just effectively, I mean, the NBA and MLB pretends like it wasn't ruined. But anybody with eyes can say that just wasn't a fair contest. Some petty squabble between an insecure official and a particularly grouchy player who might have a legitimate gripe tonight stole the whole story. That was the story of the game. And that's not what I took 2 hours out of my life to watch. I wanted to see the athletes play ball and maybe even be inspired by character, courage, overcoming the odds, great feats and achievement. I don't want to see a petty squabble with an insecure ref.
Being on the inside now, did you join the refs to try to correct some of the things that you've experienced over the years?
No, I wouldn't say it was anything nearly that noble, nor is my influence that great yet, at least. No, I came to the game because I love the game, and I want the kids that are playing my game to have a fair contest and learn things about sportsmanship and what is or isn't proper sportsmanship. I love the game. I want it to be played fairly and, for the kids to have a good experience in terms of a referee not getting in the way of a fair contest. But at the same time, being invested in the integrity of the game.
Do you care about the kids?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when I was a coach, I'm yelling at the refs if they don't have control of the game because I want my kids to go home with no broken bones, as do you and any other parent. So I take that to how I officiate matches too. I don't want some dumb injury just because I've phoned it in and lost control of the game. That's not fun to watch as a parent, and it's not a good experience for any of the players.
What would be the characteristics of a game that you get to the end of, everybody's done, shaking hands, you're getting in your car, and you think to yourself, I did a really good job there? What would that look like?
Yeah, that's the game where it's physical and it's back and forth. Two evenly matched teams playing hard. If they cross the line, they're called for it, and that's fine. They respect the referee and the decision, and maybe even I built rapport with those players by calling it fair, calling it consistent. At the end of the game, nobody can say the referee decided that game. The plays on the field decided the game. That's perfect to me.
You are not the moral law, but you're the law of the game. That's not an answer I would have expected. You said you really wanted them to be evenly matched and have a hard contest and be physical. Like, you want that. I wouldn't have expected that.
You want them to play the game to the fullest. That's what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But if I'm hearing you correctly, and correct me if I'm not, please, it sounds like you do not view it as your job to make it evenly matched.
Absolutely not. I guess I probably could in most cases. There are some games that are just so one-sided that it's not possible.
Yeah. That's not fun for anyone.
No, that's not fun for anyone.
Well, I saw a game recently where it was a basketball game, and one side, they were just really good, and this other team just shouldn't even have been in the league. And there was a mother at the scorekeeping table.
Are you talking about that Final Four game?
No. No.
What a dig. All right.
Yeah. The mother couldn't take it. And she stood up and started yelling at the winning team's coach, like, you are making an embarrassment. And what she didn't know is that winning coach had like the second and a half string in the second quarter and just made a fool out of herself. And, the ref stopped the game, was like, hey, what, tried to like deal with. So that's one of the questions I really wanted to ask you. I've noticed recently that refs' interactions with the fans have changed. As a ref, what tools do you have to get the fans under control? Because that's off the court or is it a pitch? What is it?
Pitch, field, yeah, something like that.
So what do you do as a ref when a parent or a spectator is losing their mind? What do you do if it's affecting everybody there?
Well, I mean, it honestly depends on the league that you're reffing at the moment. Stepping into high school, they've equipped the refs with, some good rule changes that really equip us to end a match if parents are being unreasonable and we can't convince them to rein it in. The rule book requires that administrators from the school attend the game and puts the responsibility on the administrators to oversee the parents. And so we, the referees, just have to say, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to call the administrator down to the field now and give that person the opportunity to correct this. If it doesn't happen, the game is over. We have that power now because it's been such an issue where there's a shortage of referees because nobody wants to do this job because parents are out of line.
And you don't have a game without officials because you don't have a game without rules. It really can get to a place where a few angry parents can push it so far that they break the whole thing. And I don't think people realize that's in play in a lot of leagues at a lot of levels all around the country, probably all around the world right now. Can't get people to officiate my kids' little league games. Like, that's why they're grabbing me by the scruff and pulling me out of the crowd. I don't want to officiate it or I would have signed up. But also the alternative is they don't have a game today. Literally no one else in this crowd has ever called a baseball game. So it's me or they don't play. So I'll play, which is why I will put up with 0 questions about my ball and strike calls for free. That, hey, the alternative to my questionable call on that was we didn't play. You're going to have to cut me some slack. So for me, given that it's a totally volunteer arrangement when I get roped in, I'll use humor to try to disarm it or gentlemanly confrontation. But I've always been able to work it out and everybody feels pretty good about it. You don't have quite the same leverage. You're working with older kids. The stakes are higher. My kid's going to get a scholarship. They care about all this stuff. So what would rise to the level that you would do that you would say, hey, if this keeps going, we're shutting it down? I mean, like if they just booed you relentlessly the whole time, is that too much? Or does it have to be something more specific?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the line wouldn't be the boos. It would be some kind of personal attacks, whether it be directed towards me or the opposing team's players. We've run into that a lot with the team that I coach, actually. Parents talking to a 13-year-old girl, about specific plays or things that they think that she is doing that are a foul or unfair in some way. It's disgusting. And some refs have that on their radar and would shut that down, and some don't. It's just terrible sportsmanship. So for me, that's kind of where the line is. If they're attacking me and disagreeing with a call that I made, fine. I got thick skin.
You're a man. You're 40.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to do this for 80 or 90 minutes, whatever it is. And then I'm going to go home, and the guy probably isn't going to wait for me in the parking lot. So I'm okay. But if they're verbally abusing me or a player, I'm going to shut that down.
I've noticed, this is what I've started doing. When there are refs at my children's games, I have kind of shifted modes, and maybe it's because I can see society falling apart a little bit and being mean to the refs, but I've started being the advocate for the ref, not at the Huntsville thing. That's, obviously
well,
they
were getting
handsy, man.
You can't get handsy.
No.
It's handsing.
So I've started, like, at halftime, I'll walk down to the ref and I'll say, hey, you need some water? Or you may get you something from the concession stand? What you need?
Yeah.
And I try to do it. I try to walk from an unclear portion of the stadium, or not stadium, I guess the gym. I don't want them to know what team I'm with, but I just want them to know that there's somebody there that recognizes they're doing a difficult job and appreciates them. There are certain groups that are pillars of the community, and they have chosen to serve the community in certain ways, and I really respect that. In our area, there's a lot of schools. The African-American community has really stepped up. They are the bedrock of sports, specifically in the basketball area, and they allow good competition to happen.
Shout out to my coworker, Mr. Cooper.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
What does he do?
He is a basketball official and a manager. I won't say who if he chooses to remain anonymous.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, he's just a coworker, another middle-aged dude with kids that play sports. And what does he do on the nights and weekends? He refs basketball.
How old is Mr. Cooper?
He's probably got a few years on me, so let's call him 50.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a great way to serve the community. It's unfortunate that people are stepping up to serve the community, and then it sounds like they're just getting punched in the mouth by that community sometimes. That's unfortunate.
And this is what will happen. We see it in politics. We are getting the politicians we deserve. And right now, hackles are going up. I get it. Like, yeah, politicians like the ones that the other people like. No. your politicians suck, especially if you're in this country. Not too many of them are particularly impressive. Why? We just suddenly just not have anybody who could lead or do things that make sense politically anymore? No. The feedback loop we create with what we reward, what we punish, how we treat the whole thing, you eventually make it so that the people you want to lead or be a pillar of the community in a public servant way are unwilling to do what it takes to obtain that role because it becomes so dirty and compromising. And it's not just politicians who own that failure. It's society who owns that failure. Same thing will happen here. If you punish the people who were willing to try to do it relentlessly, somebody will still do it, but you won't like who you get. It will eventually become attractive to people who lack the security with themselves to handle their business properly on the field.
I saw a quote recently from Plato. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men.
Ooh.
I thought that was pretty good. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. So thanks for stepping up. In the soccer community, it's mostly middle-aged men like yourself, like engineers. No offense, a little bit nerdy. Like you're kind of a nerd. Are there stereotypes of refs, people that want to do this at different stages in life?
Yeah. I told my wife, shortly after I went through the training thing, that I did notice that the people that showed up to these things were the persnickety sort. Very much minding their P's and Q's and those nerdy tendencies that you would just kind of assume. Yeah, I mean, there's a type.
Are you the persnickety sort?
Typically not.
But only when you're referencing soccer?
Yeah, I mean, again, you kind of have to lean into it a little bit because...
the character.
Yeah. They set these expectations. Hey, you got to know this stuff and know the minutia of the rule to be able to get it right in the moment. And if you don't, somebody on that field probably knows that you got it wrong.
Okay, let me ask you this. If you could talk to all of the student athletes who are playing sports right now and tell them something about just a nugget of wisdom about their interaction with their relationship with people in your shoes, what would you want them to know?
Wow. I would want them to know that we will mess up some call in this game, but that it's not because we don't care or because we want to exert our influence on the game. It's because we're humans and we hope that they'll give us just a little bit of grace in those situations, because in the end, what we want out of this game is to be unnoticed as the referee crew. We want you, the student athlete, to be able to compete and do so at a high level and have a good game and hopefully learn something as you interact with your teammates and friends.
What about the parents?
Shut up.